Gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. Just the tip and only for a minute. We're going to do a quick science video on bolt rustification. We're doing some restoration here in the shop. I've been noticing that fellas doing restorations get a mighty fine bunch of views. Who'd have thunk that some homoerotic workshop action of a fella polishing a less than turgid tool on camera into a glorious device would get over 40 million views. Boy, howdy, I think they're on to something. Also, they don't talk in those ones, so it might be a lesson in there. But this is not that. What I want to do is I got something with some heart, some soul, some old gear, what we're restorating. I got to get some rusty bolts. Problem being, you can't just buy a period piece off the shelf. You got to get on flow to visit. That's pretty much why I'm in the shop most of the time. In this case, you can't buy rusty bolts. You find them all over, but you can't buy them. And because you can't buy them, you can't get them the girth and length what you need. This bolt has a zinc phosphate coating. This is a chemical process, strictly chemical, wherein you have the steel bolt, which would be pickled in acid, degreased, then pickled in acid, and then dipped in a chemical solution of zinc phosphate. And that zinc phosphate salt is in an acid. The acid pickles or etches the steel base, and as it does that, the pH of that solution drops enough to make the zinc phosphate precipitate out of solution, and it forms a very fine film, black film on top of that. That is a chemical action. An electrochemical protection, in this case, is zinc dichromate. 2 steps, well, a number of steps. Degrease, of course. Well, you roll form the threads, and then you punch the head, then you degrease, and then you zinc plate, electroplate with zinc, and then you dip it in a chemical solution of dichromate, hexavalent chromium, and that puts on that little gold sheen there. They used to have cadmium. If you see the sheen of this versus the dichromate, zinc dichromate, there's a kind of greenish sheen to it. That's cadmium. They've gone away from cadmium because it's a heavy metal. Now, they have not gone away from hexavalent chromium for some reason. I guess it's maybe not as neurotoxic, or maybe some other lobbyists is better endowed. Who knows? But in this case, we have cadmium plated on the steel bolt and then dichromate. The dichromate is a chemical process as well. The cadmium plating, as I said, electrochemical. They don't make those anymore. Now what they do is they do zinc dichromate. So we got to get the chromate and the zinc off and the rust on. I'm out the side, better ventilation out here. We're going to use some muriatic acid. You, of course, could use vinegar, but it would be slower. Muriatic acid is as an etchant to concrete. So be sure to engage your safety squints and wear your double rubbers. In this case, I'm going to just be careful. And I'm out the side because this puts off some nasty vapors. Quite choking. And you wouldn't want anybody to think you got the Wuhan flu. Stick you in a internment camp. Whilst that's chooching. And this is going to work, because if it didn't work, you wouldn't be seeing this. Unless it was a spectacular failure, of course. Well, that's a chooching. We're going to get ourselves some water, some salt, which I happen to have in rock form here for the water softener. Got hard water in the outer rim. Hydrogen peroxide. Peroxide, it's got more oxygen. Ergo, it oxidizes more better. Oh, that's nicely done. Mix up some of that salt in there. Lo and behold, already rusted. Now the discerning eye amongst us can tell that that is fresh rust. So what we'll go ahead and do is do a couple of applications, let it dry out, and then reapply. And then if it still looks like fake as shit, a brand new rust, what we can do is heat it up with a torch a little bit and blacken, kind of make it anhydrous iron oxide rather than hydrous. That is, take the water out of her. I'm going to show you again in the light on account of it being pretty damn satisfactory. And that is how you get a rusty bolt quicker than the underside of a Chevy pick-em-up truck in the winter in Michigan. Sure, there's a more lyrical way to say that, but you get the point. Thanks for watching. Keep your dick in a vice. I've been taking a page out of the Scandinavians book, whopping the vitamin D to me. That's not the vitamin D I give to a baby doll, mind you, once a year. It's coming up soon, too. Oh, yeah, starting to feel quite a bit better. My head, although vaguely nauseated. I think that's what happiness is supposed to feel like, isn't it? I got a joke I stole from the Moron Brothers here on the YouTube. You know, I don't like listening to the Beatles music for decades and loving it and then realizing they ain't as cool as they made out to be. They quoted a lot of their best riffs or somebody else's that they stole. So I don't like to do that. Everybody's favorite primping boy emperor Thrustin Turdho got re-elected. Thank the Jesus. At least, hey, all hail President Scrooge. At least we know what we're getting. No surprises there. There's ethnobiologist or ethno-sociologist. It just got a grant from the government to study the blue-collar Quebec diaspora and its effect on Canadian cultures. To have a modicum... Sorry, I'm pre-laughing at my own jokes. To have a modicum of accountability or senility or, you know, whatever they call it. Here's the thing about people who are real educated. Not only are they smart, but it pre-selects for people who are able to put up with bullshit. Hey? So it pre-selects people who are obedient. And that's why you get these circle jerks of ideas that nobody else can have any idea because they don't have the gravitas of a certificate. Well, that gravitas of a certificate, if you've been through any amount of schooling, you know it comes with a certain amount of bullshit. Because who amongst us has not taken an exam where none of the questions are anything remotely that the lecturer was lecturing on? How the fuck does that happen? And why is that part of the process? It's because they want to filter out the people who aren't able to just obey. There's a reason for that. Okay, so anyway, this fella gets a big grant from Justin Trudeau to study some. He flies out some North Shore from Labrador, some Quebecois, and the three of them there sitting in their chairs, kind of out of sorts in their frocks and their little pot bellies with their big meat sausage fingers crossed in their laps, you know, dutifully waiting. And the professor gives his spiel. We've been given the opportunity to give a course to young students about that, and so forth and so on. And in order to justify our existence, we need to, it's largely a ceremonial robe, but we need to have a real live Québécois on board with this course. You know, what for teaching the students. Don't talk to them, mind. And in my 40 years of pedagogical experience, I have found that I can ask one very pertinent question and determine the proper candidate for the job instantaneously. Such is my expertise. So I ask you, Jean-Pierre, Jean-Guy, and Jean-Jean, what is the fastest thing in the world? Oh, Jean-Guy. Jean-Guy, would you enlighten us, please? Well, me, I think the fastest thing in the world is a think. You know, because you thought this, and then bam, there it is, gone. So a thought is the fastest thing in the world. Oh, very, very enlightening, Jean-Pierre. Thank you very much. Or was it Jean-Guy? I can't remember. You all look alike to me. Jean-Guy. Jean-Guy, your illustrious colleague here, gave a wonderful answer. I don't know how you're going to top it, but please elucidate us. Jean-Guy says, elucidate. Tabarnak, c'est un beau mot, ça. I think the fastest thing in the world is light. Light is the fastest thing in the world. Well, it's quite fast, I grant you, but no, c'est pas ça. The light. You flick the light open and it's on. You flick the light close and there it is. Gone. Hein? Comme ça. Well, that's a pretty good answer, Jean-Guy. Now you, Jean-Jean, what do you think is the fastest thing in the world? Oh ben tabarnak, mon vieux, c'est pas de question. The fastest thing in the world is la diarrhée. Diarrhea is the fastest thing in the world. I fly you from Quebec on the taxpayer's dime in order to interview you for this illustrious position, and you come at me with a poop joke. Jean-Jean, No, hear me out. No. The reason that diarrhée is the fastest thing in the world, c'est parce que before you can even think to flick the light, it's already too late. Cheers to you, moron brothers, for not allowing me to steal that. It's a rather rambling rendition in the spirit of Norm MacDonald. May he rust in pieces. I don't know who you stole it from, but she's a gooder. Spanks.